This is Umar Ahmed for IFL TV, proudly sponsored by Everlast. We've got an all-time favourite back on IFL TV in the Saint, George Groves. How's life, mate?
Yeah, very good, thank you. Very good, very good.
Well, yeah, obviously Wasserman making big moves, a company, of course, you know very well. 3 new big signings today. Let's quickly talk about that. Josh Kelly, firstly, a really talented fighter. Obviously a setback earlier this year, but you believe with Wasserman, Josh can really bounce back?
Yeah, I think so. From what I've seen of Josh, and I've called a couple of his fights, and I've been a harsh critic of his. If he's heard it, I don't know, but it's like he's got the talent there, you know, and what I respect most about him, he's willing to, you know, push himself, get involved, take the tough fights to improve himself and get to the top. He's had to face a tough obstacle. He's lost, and he's had to come back from that. But you know, it's like I know about fighters. You know, it happens, and they can do it. But I believe Josh is a tremendous talent, and you know, it might only be 1 or 2 things that he just needs to get right, and then it all starts clicking for him. And then he's a force, you know, on the world stage. So you know, but with the Wasserman backing, and then you know, under the guidance of the SAUNDERS brothers as well, you know, they'll be able to get him the right fights, advise him in the right direction, and you know, work on the rankings, whatever may need be, and then when his time is ready and he's good to go and he wants to strike, they're in a position to fight for the major titles. His
stablemate from Booth's Gym, EUBANK, signed as well, who's showed massive improvements recently, and obviously he's got a big last name, so that's a good signing.
Yeah. I mean, he's a great. I haven't seen him box in a little while, but I've seen him box before EUBANK, and he's chip off the old block, and they're a fighting family. So yeah, and a good guy. Seems like a real good guy. Speaks well, so I'm sure he's got a real bright future.
And heavyweight Nathan Gorman joined as well. Obviously, a little bit like Josh Kelly, had a massive setback against Daniel Dubois in a big fight, but again, you believe Nathan's got the capabilities to bounce back?
Yeah, Nathan seemed. You know, I don't know him personally, but I commentated on his fight with Dubois, and you know, so I was semi-invested from a fan's point of view in the build-up to that fight. I think it was a huge fight, and there were similarities that I could see. You know, when I boxed DeGale, was and sort of a big fight that comes maybe a little bit too soon for the winner or the loser. I don't think that's the case with Gorman, in that he seems screwed on. I think he had a few personal problems as well in the build-up to that fight, which he must have, you know, had to deal with since. But he looks good today, enthusiastic. His body language was great, and you know, a real talented heavyweight. So again, bright future.
Definitely. Well, that's the formalities out of the way. I asked how's life. What have you actually been doing, George?
Not an awful lot. I'll take it a little bit slow. I popped down here today because I was represented by Wasserman as a sort of media agency, and they ended up even part managing me at the end of my career, with Duncan, who's standing behind me. He was doubling up for me back in the day. He didn't jump on the hair transplant, so you know, he's no longer available. And Dean, who sort of runs the show in many respects here with Fari, they've tied up with Sauland, so they've incorporated Sauland to become Wasserman Boxing, of course. Sauland I know really well. The Sauland brothers, Nissa and Kala, tremendous guys, good fun guys, but also capable of getting some great work done. You know, they looked after me very well during my career, and made sure I was where I needed to be in the sanctioned bodies. Got me the eliminator fights. You know, they got me into a mandatory position for a world title twice in the space of like 15 months. So they can do it for the fighters if they need it. And then yeah, having the backing of Wasserman, all these guys are in a great position. I spoke to Dean numerous times, a long time, over numerous years now, about what's his plans for boxing. He loves boxing, he's a huge fan, he wants to get involved, and they want to come in and do it properly. They want to build something great, and they've got a few dates with Sky that, you know, part of their new setup and their new era of boxing, and then maybe some other stuff as well coming. So I'm just here as a friend, as a fan, as a speak to the fighters if they want to ask, you know, what's Kala really like, or what's Dean really like, you know what I mean? And I'm here to vouch for them, and maybe, you know, pass on a few free words to the fighters and tell them what to expect next.
Well, of course, your former opponent is leading the charge for them in Chris EUBANK Jr. He's kind of the face, if you think that's fair to say. We know he's got kind of a tick-over fight coming up, but what would you like to see Chris do? There's been rumours of the Billy Joe Saunders fight. He wants £5 million for that. Billy Joe, talk of the Golovkin fight. What would you like to see Junior do?
You know, I think You know, I've got a lot of time for Junior. You know, he was. I appreciate his dedication to the craft. How much he, you know, as much as he's online, and I used to make fun of him for, you know, for sort of his Instagram life, but he also lives and breathes it in the gym. I'm sure he's had a tough time of late losing his brother. You know, I haven't spoken to him about that, and it'd be very personal. And it reminded me of myself, the family. I can imagine they like to keep their private life private. But in terms of his boxing, he has the ability. I'd love to see the Billy Joe Saunders fight, and I think a lot of people would think it's a foregone conclusion that Saunders wins, because he's operated at a higher level of late, and he's obviously got that win over EUBANK. But EUBANK was pretty inexperienced at the time, and it was a split decision. Like, people forget it was a split decision loss. So that would be a great fight. He might be getting Saunders at the right time, coming off the back of the Alvarez loss. Maybe that's just pillow talk. It's never going to happen, you know. Each of them will price themselves out of that fight. But I think EUBANK, you know, if he's going to stick at middleweight, you know, make a real charge for one of the world titles. I'd love to see the Golovkin fight. You know, I feel like it's a different Golovkin from the last time they were pitted together, which would have been 2017. So no, 2016. I think it was even earlier than that. So that could be a great fight, but he's a big name. He needs to be in big fights. It'll be a huge draw for Sky. I'm sure Sky will be desperate to get him in with some big fights, and he has that charisma and that value that he can bring the big fights to the UK, and it's great for the fight fans, you know. So you know, I have to get through the rankings if I was going to give you an exact pinpoint plan for him right now. But I'd like to see a world title challenge from him in the next, you know, 9 to 12 months.
Okay. How's your mate Carl FROCH?
Carl's great. I saw him the other week. We did a little signing, and obviously we were preparing for our tour. We're going on tour. I need to work on some new material maybe, but yeah, we got a few dates booked in, and it's gonna be some fun. You know, maybe reminisce about some old times, and that's about it really. So yeah, but yeah. That's it really.
Crazy, well done. Who would have thought 8 years on you'd been a tour together?
Yeah, I mean, there was times when you know, I feel like I wouldn't share a cell with him, about strangling him. But no, like time is a healer in that respect, and we've bumped into each other a few times. And I suppose just getting old and getting on with your life, you realise he had a few similarities, and I think all it took for me was to admit that I've got respect for Carl. I think he never thought I had any respect for him, because obviously in the build up to both our fights, I was just on his case, like I was trying to beat him up mentally as well as physically. So once that happened, then he let go, and the shield came down, and now yeah, we can get on, and it's good fun, and he's all right. And so yeah, anyone who's coming to the shows, hopefully they get there and they're definitely gonna have a good time.
George, this might sound ridiculous to you, but we've seen this weekend just gone Evander Holyfield and David HAYE box. So in this kind of time off, have you ever considered, I'll pop back in the ring? Yeah,
I mean, I'm 33 years old. I retired at 30. I've still got it, man. I just, whenever I want it, I can get it. But I don't want to, and I don't want to test myself and think, maybe it ain't there no more, you know.
But what if it is?
But what if it is? What if it is? But I'm genuinely enjoying retirement life. You know, I get in the gym, I get my boxing fix. I go down the Dale Youth ABC on a Sunday morning, take the guys for pads. Sometimes I was down Shane McGuigan's gym last week watching a Coley train and watching a few other guys in there sparring. So you know, I'm getting my boxing fix that way. And then same questions come up: do you want to have a go? I'm like, I've got it. I don't want to do it, you know. The difference between wanting to box and needing to box, you only find that out like when you've got to get your running shoes on and get out and do and push yourself, put yourself in that uncomfortable zone. So I got bored of living outside my comfort zone. Now I live deeply in my comfort zone, and it's you know, hopefully for my sake that itch to box don't come when I'm 58 like Evander Holyfield, you know. But right now I'm happily retired.